Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Locked On ACC podcast here. Candace Cooper with Jonathan Rand. It's our weekly Rants. It's been a while, but we are back and better than ever. We're going to talk a little ACC men's tournament. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I mean, after last night, long games. One thing I will say, why do we have to have 9:30 games? I think we should do away with that. Who decided that?
I don't know. What are we? I mean, it's 2 and then 4:30, and then there's a gap. Like, for what? Do you have to clean the floor? Like, it's not like hockey. You don't have to sweep the ice or anything. Just keep it going.
Keep it rolling.
I don't know what we're doing.
It's like I would love to have a bedtime at a decent hour if you could, if you're willing. But
yeah, and like today we got a 7 and a 9:30. Is that right?
Yes, and I'm just confused. We couldn't start at 12 and 2:30. Just wondering.
We can do that. There's no time. Let's call up Coach K right now. We're good. We can make this work.
Absolutely. I guess people are trying to get them in town in Brooklyn for the evening and get them ready for what should be a very exciting semifinals. We got Duke and Miami. We got Carolina and Virginia Tech. We'll love to talk first. Just get your thoughts about Duke and Miami. I know it's been very interesting for Duke ever since that Saturday matchup, Coach K's retirement party. They just all season they looked kind of, maybe not as tough as people thought, but really after this and that Syracuse game, I don't know. They might be fraudulent.
I think they are, and that worries me because when you talk about like Paolo Banchero, Trevor Keels, AJ Griffin, and Wendell Moore, who's actually like the veteran on this team, talent-wise, they're pretty much the best team in the country talent-wise.
Yeah.
But there's something with this team. I don't know if it's I think it's the pressure. I think it's finally getting to them, which you can't blame them. They're 18, 19-year-old kids. But I think it's the pressure, and I am worried about this team.
Yeah. And you would think with how the season progressed, you would build up some confidence, but maybe because they know this is the final few games that everything is just racing in their head and wanting to play at the next level. Because let's keep it a band. Paolo Banchero was the name that everyone, around the world in college basketball was talking about. And now it seems it's like, well, obviously he's going to be a first rounder, but he's definitely not going to be the first man picked.
No, not at all. You're right. That was the first couple of weeks of the season. He looked like that.
Yeah.
And maybe it was the nuance of him just being new and us not seeing him. But now it's like, which is just weird to say because talent-wise, sometimes he'll make plays where you're like, that's why. But
yeah,
I don't know. Coach K talked about that hunger, a couple of weeks ago about and I'm just not sure if he has it. I'm not sure. Like it's hard to be consistently hungry. And I'm not sure if he has it and the rest of the team has it. And I'm worried. I'm not so much worried about today, though. I know that sounds weird.
You think they're going to take care of Miami?
I think so. Part of me just feels like because now they have something like Miami beat us. We want that a little bit. They can focus on something else other than this is Coach K's last ACC tournament. And this is us in Miami. Those guys already beat us. So it's like a personal thing.
Yeah.
Because part of me feels like that's, it's easier to play when it's your own accountability rather than you're playing for somebody else.
Right.
Now if they win, Saturday's different. So we'll get to Saturday.
Yeah. And what's crazy? I thought the way they played against Syracuse had me say, like, okay, maybe I am right about this fraudulent, accusation because Syracuse, first time out, they blew them out of the water. And this time, well, I will say Jamie Boeheim was like, I really want to play with my brothers. So whatever I can do to get that. But I think with Buddy Boeheim, they would have lost that game. Like, thank goodness he had a little flagrant thing. You think they would have pulled it off without Buddy?
So. Buddy? I mean, because you give Syracuse somebody else. Somebody else who can score because there were lineups there where Cole Swider went out and you were like, who's going to score here for Syracuse? And you knew it was Boeheim and Girard and that was it.
Yeah.
And even then, like Jimmy had a day. He was feeling it. So if Buddy would have played, they might have had it, which isn't good. Like that Syracuse team they are like you are who your record is, and they're a 500 team. So that's
100%.
I think you're right on with the fraudulent thing here.
Absolutely. Now we talk about the next semifinal matchup, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. Third time these teams have met. Carolina's won both times. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. And I think this Virginia Tech team is feeling themselves. They looking good. I mean, they were really good against Notre Dame, 87-80 victory. Carolina, I don't care if you lose at this point. I would actually prefer not to see a Carolina Duke rematch just because I want to keep my high going. But,
Fair.
I think that the way, Armando and Aluma get together and they battle, it's going to be interesting how this one plays out. What do you think is going to go down with this matchup?
Yeah, I'm with you. Virginia Tech surprised me last night. I mean, they looked like they were ready for Notre Dame, and they looked just focused and crisp on offense. It just felt like every time Notre Dame tried to get it close, Virginia Tech had an answer, which is pretty surprising. I mean, and no, nothing against that Virginia Tech team, but they're on the bubble for a reason too.
Yeah.
I want to say that I'm confident in Carolina tonight. I want to say it.
I want to feel good about them.
I want to feel it, but then again, I feel like when the bracket comes out on Sunday, every game that has UNC and Duke on there, I'm going to go, I don't know.
Which team am I getting? But, I mean, people are saying Carolina's peaking right now. They're feeling themselves. They finally got it firing from all cylinders. I don't know. Caleb Love scares me.
Well, listen, I don't blame you. I love the kid's confidence. I love his confidence. But, like, sometimes if you're 3 for 12, like, you don't need to keep shooting yourself out of the slump. Like, it's okay. It's okay. There might be
pass the rock. That's why you're a guard. Yeah, exactly.
You're open, Caleb. Like, other teams, like, you go ahead and shoot.
Right.
But I think you're right. I think Carolina might be peaking, but also last night Virginia was just bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
terrible.
Cool. Like, bad. So it's going to be interesting to see because obviously you have to play a much different game against Virginia than you do to anyone else in the ACC. So tonight's going to be more up and down and less of a slog offensively. So Carolina's going to have to make some shots, and
100%,
which is important, I'm pretty sure.
Just like basic analysis tells me you have to make more shots than the other team. So
I mean, you only get this here. You only get this analysis here.
So the off chance that Duke and Carolina face each other, are we sitting here saying that this matchup means more than the retirement party because it's the finals, it's the ACC tournament? Duke's the regular season champions already. Now they have the opportunity to be tournament champions. If Carolina can crash that parade as well, does this team go down in infamy? I mean,
I think it's one of those things that I kind of think Carolina, if you're asking me now, I think Carolina and Duke are going to face off tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's one of those things that if Duke wins, it's almost one of those things where Duke will brag a little bit, like we got the title, and Carolina will be like, really? Like, what the bigger game was.
Right.
The bigger game was in Cameron last weekend. You can have all the ACC tournament titles you want. You can have them. You can have the regular season titles. You can beat us in the Dean Dome. It's fine.
Yeah.
We beat you on Coach K's last game. So
and you can never take that away.
Unless they meet in the NCAA tournament, which could happen eventually, like in their history. I mean, it could happen. That's going to be the trump card. That's going to be the ace in the hole that everybody in the grocery store, every fan is just going to be like, yeah, but,
No doubt about that. And I truly feel like, for Carolina's sake, I hope that they get an opportunity to play and beat them again and just have this whole spoil tour. But it'll have to be them dialed in. And if you told me this 2 months ago, I would have never given credit to this Carolina team. Never would have had confidence in them. But right now I'm saying, hey, if Brady can keep shooting, find a little bit of defense, and Caleb just doesn't mess up, they're in good shape. In good shape. I think if Leaky just be's the defensive guru that he claims to be and all that good stuff. But we look at NCAA tournaments, right? And I don't have confidence in any of them playing. Like when we're in-house, we can talk junk about each other. Now you're talking about having to play SEC schools, Big 10, Big 12 schools. I don't know if I feel it's great.
It's hard because, in March, like it's about matchups. And
exactly.
And it's hard because this Carolina team, if they're playing well, if they're hitting shots, they could win 2 or 3 games. They could make the Elite Eight if they wanted to.
Right.
But they could also lose that first round game. And it's kind of similar with Duke. If they made the Final Four, I'd be like, I could see that. But if they lost that 2-15 matchup, actually I couldn't see that. If they lost, that second round game to somebody, I could see that.
Yeah, all the pressure though has to be on Coach K and company. It has to be.
Yeah.
Like they have to get the Final Four or it won't mean, to me, if they don't get to national championship game, it'll be a disappointment, considered a disappointment.
Yeah, because they've had teams like that in the past, and I know it's hard. You can't get to the Final Four every year, but they've had those teams like the Zion, what was it, 2019 year, I guess, where you got Zion and RJ Barrett and you don't make the Final Four and you're like, really? That team? So it's hard.
Yeah. It's crazy though. But Jay, it's always good to have you with this quick hit. I want to hear your final prediction. Who do you think is going to be ACC tournament champion?
I think it's going to be Duke Carolina in the matchup. And if it is, I'm going to say Carolina wins. I'm going to say the pressure is still with Duke.
Okay.
And it's in their heads now that they've already lost to them. I don't think this Duke team has the mental stamina to do this.
Okay.
And I think if Carolina and Duke match up tomorrow, I think Carolina gets them again.
Ooh, it's not. See, the only reason I say it's not going to happen. Well, I do think Carolina, because Duke is going to blame the runs, literally, on their inability to win. They're going to claim everybody just caught this food poisoning thing. They all went to this bad Italian restaurant.
That's true. That's smart.
They had the chicken parm, and it went downhill.
Yeah. I might start doing that, like if I like mess up in life and I got this food poisoning thing.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do from now on. Like, so I'm gonna set the tone, so if I don't come up victorious, there's a reason.
That's right. That's right.
My stomach is messed up. Can you please remind these folks of where they can find you and follow all of your work?
Yes, JRand44 on Twitter and all the socials, and the OG from 3 to 6 on 99 on the Fan. Listen up.
There we go. All right, guys, make sure you come back on Monday as we recap the tournament for Candace Cooper and Jonathan Rand. Until next time.